been an exciting week to say the least. It's so great to be able to kick off the 2023 Bassmaster Elite Series season and to do it right here at this special place like no place else on earth. This giant 730 square mile Lake Okeechobee, those acres and more. So it might be a good time to take a look at really how it went down this week at Lake Okeechobee. Welcome to the Bassmaster Studio, sponsored by Marathon. Of course, Tommy Sanders, Mark Zona, Ronnie Moore here, and let's take it from top five guys. Shall we take a look at the map, where they were, and kind of dig into it a little bit? Yeah, for our Minn Kota Unlock the Lake, Tommy, it's great to run down where the areas at Lake Okeechobee that factored in. Z, this is a big body of water, but the areas that have factored, it's been small areas with clean water and a lot of bass from South Bay to Moonshine, Monkey Box region, North Shore, and even 10 houses factored. We also saw the Kissimmee River a little bit too. Really a lot of the same players of all the years of professional bass tournaments on Lake Okeechobee. Looking at your Minn Kota Unlock the Lake. The sole survivor on the south end of the lake is Clark Wendlandt. We'll get there, but we're going to start off with Steve Kennedy, who was really the model of consistency, at least for the first 3 days of this tournament, averaging over 23 pounds, doing it with a poppin' frog, and really just the best way to put it, just a little area right around Worm Cove, a lot of history there in the last couple weeks. And looking at what Steve Kennedy did in here, long casts, a lot of pad fields, fish setting up to spawn, going through a lot of males and then backing them up with giant females on a topwater bait. And again, one of the best things about this area, a little rim of eelgrass outside of it, keeping that water cleaner, where Steve Kennedy caught giants like that. 23 pounds a day for the first 3 days. Of course, much more difficult on Championship Sunday for Steve Kennedy. Seemed like the area kind of cannibalized itself, not only with recreational anglers, but so many high-quality Elite Series pros that did well fishing in that region. Same could be said for Brandon Cobb's region in that Tin House, North Shore region of Lake Okeechobee. But when those fish made the move in this area, Z, they made the move, and he intercepted the biggest bag of the tournament on day two, 32 pounds, 15 ounces. It seemed like he could do no wrong. Exactly right. That little area just outside of Tin House. So much pressure also in there, and one of the biggest keys was that cleaner water, that northwest side, just south of our takeoff in the Kissimmee River. If you look at what Brandon Cobb did there on day two of this tournament, catching 32 pounds and 15 ounces, mostly on a bladed jig, mixing in a worm a little bit throughout this tournament, but it was no joke, a one cast spot where the majority of Brandon Cobb's damage was done in this event. And Brandon Cobb, just like Steve Kennedy, no shortage of company in that area. Didn't matter though, he was on to the right thing. Everyone got to watch the show for both of those guys over the first 3 days. What they did, if that spot's only going to hold up for 2 days, what a magical 2 days it was for Brandon Cobb. Like you said, a couple baits in play there, the biggest bag of the tournament and the biggest bass of the tournament, but a guy who got better every day, maybe not weight-wise, but position in the tournament. So we have been to Worm Cove, we've been to Tin House. You might as well go to South Bay, another area that pretty much every single local knows. And the one thing that he said about Clark Wendlandt and Steve Kennedy and Brandon Cobb, it was out fishing competition around them. And one of the things that Clark Wendlandt said, big key, was irregularities on this flat in South Bay. Areas where it would go from 3 to down to 4 feet of water. Those little depressions is where the bulk of his damage was done. A Strike King cutter worm mixed in with a bladed jig. And here's the best way to put it with Clark Wendlandt. It was never a lack of bites. The biggest key was finding those big bites, mostly later in the day down in South Bay. Single rookie in our top 10 on the final day, Gonzales, Louisiana's Logan Latuso. He came with a pretty fair billing as he joined the Elite Series, and he lived up to it. Yeah, this is right up his alley. I mean, if you're going to start an event, it's not close to his home in Louisiana, but the style of fishing he was doing this week with a bladed jig, with a poppin' frog, and then eventually on that final day, when he made his biggest charge up the leaderboard in the top 10, it came with a flipping stick, punching through. I mean, when you catch a 7 and a 5 out of a mat on the size of your front deck of your boat, you're living right. Exactly right. Logan Latuso fishing his first Bassmaster Elite Series event. First time to Lake Okeechobee. As you said it, Ron, doing his damage with a bladed jig and a frog the first couple days of this tournament, backing up with big punch-and bites on the last day. And really the biggest key for Logan Latuso, having a camera with him. Granted, he was fishing, call it the north side of Moonshine, very popular area. Pretty much
Semifinal Saturday and Championship Sunday, left all to himself.
Great progression through the tournament. All eyes on Logan Latuso as we move forward this season on the Bassmaster Elite Series. And how about Tyler Rivet? Absolutely fooling us on day number 1.
Yeah, and this was probably the strangest outcome of any tournament we have covered on Lake Okeechobee, fishing in the Kissimmee River. Tyler Rivet going in here, day number 1 of practice, and saying, I just went in there to catch some crappie for dinner, and finding a load of big largemouth on a suspending jerkbait. The one thing about Tyler Rivet, Scott Martin said this, if somebody finds something off the beaten path, left alone, Tyler Rivet did exactly that. And there were some highs and lows, but definitely getting the job done in a strange way for Lake Okeechobee.
For this college alum from Nicholls State, fishing at Lake Okeechobee, you'd expect a flipping stick and a punching rod and maybe a bladed jig, but
bowed up,
forward-facing sonar came in huge for him, like you said, Z. And there's going to be a lot of 5-pounders in the Kissimmee River. Most of those seems to come from Tyler Rivet.
Yeah.
But then you see those populated areas. One bass on the east side of the lake that factored in the kicker range, but South Bay, you've got Moonshine, Harney Pond, Monkey Box region, North Shore. Those were the key areas for the Minn Kota unlock the lake this week.
Okeechobee to kick off 2023 for the Bassmaster Elite Series. That is your Minn Kota Unlock the Lake.